everyone. Welcome to another Lunch and Learn with Job Interview Pro. I am Aline Bicudo, the founder of the Job Interview Pro and also an English teacher with a technical background. You can follow me on LinkedIn, and you can also find us on LinkedIn, jobinterview.pro. Today we're going to be discussing one behavioral interview question, right? Tailored to IT professionals. So the question that I have today is, tell me about a time when you had to troubleshoot a complex technical issue under significant time pressure. How did you prioritize tasks and what was the outcome? So very interesting question, right? And what is behind the question, right? You might be wondering. So why do interviewers ask this kind of question? What do they want to know with that, right? So one thing that they are looking for is to assess your problem-solving skills. So it's very important that you make it very clear to them how you think through a solution, right? Also, they're going to evaluate your technical competency. So make sure that you mention the technical skills that you used, the technical decisions that you made to solve the problem, and so on. They also want to know about your time management. So the question was about a situation under a time pressure, right? So they want to know how you manage not only working under pressure, but also how do you manage the time, right? How do you navigate during those kind of situations? They also want to know about your prioritization skills. So you do have a short amount of time to work on a complex problem. So how do you manage that? And how do you prioritize the tasks that you need to do to solve the problem? So that's very important also to demonstrate that to them. Another very important point that sometimes we don't think about is that interviewers are going to be assessing our communication skills. So not only how we think through a solution, but also how we communicate that. So it's very important that you can clearly speak, clearly explain your thoughts, your decisions, and on a way that the interviewer can follow your thoughts, right? So for this, one technique that you can use, and we have talked about that already in another session, is the start method, right? So you bring the situations and the tasks, the actions that you take, the results, and also you finish with the learnings. So keep that in mind. It's a very good tool to demonstrate your communication skills in interviews. The interviewer also want to know about your ability to learn from past experiences. So it's crucial that you mention not only how you solved the problem, but also what you learned and how you prevent that from happening again. So also keep that in mind to add to your answer. Another point would be handling stressful situation. So what happens when you are on a very stressful situation? Do you freak out? Do you paralyze? Do you stay calm? So what makes you, how does it impact you, right? And how it will contribute or impact on how you find the solution, right? How do you overcome that kind of situation? And last but not least, they want to know also about predicting future performance. So again, demonstrating what you learned and how you can avoid the same situation to happen again, right? And also predicting how the performance of the solution will be working in the future, so you prevent having the same issue, right? So those are the points that the interviewers are going to be looking for when they ask you that kind of question. In this case, let me get back here. This one specifically is about a time when you had to troubleshoot a complex technical issue under significant time pressure, right? So now that you know why interviewers ask you this question, the second part is how to properly answer to this question, right? Okay, we already know what they are looking for, what they are assessing in our answers, but how do we build an effective answer for that question, right? So here I have some topics to help you as well. So you can start, you must, I would say, you must start with a relevant example. It's very important that you have, that you select different stories from your career to share with the interviewer. So having relevant examples means that the example that you choose connect with the job description, connect to the position that you are interviewing for, connect to the question as well, and so on, right? And then the next steps are the STAR method, right? So you need to provide the context, the situation. What was that about? What happened, right? Then you detail the problem. What exactly was the challenge that you were working on? You need to explain your prioritization. That's what happens when you're not a native speaker. But anyway, getting back. So explain how you prioritize your tasks, how you decide what needs to be done, in order to solve the problem. You need to describe your actions. So what were your responsibilities? Were you leading a team? Were you developing? Were you, I don't know, what were you doing? What were your responsibilities? And what actions did you take to accomplish the tasks that you needed to solve the problem? You can also address the time management. So make it very clear how you managed to picture the problem, find out what was happening, think about the solution and implement the solution. All of that under that time pressure, right? So very challenging, but you can do it. Also, if you had collaboration in that situation, sometimes we are working on a team, right? Not always we are solving problems alone, but if you had some sort of collaboration, highlight that as well. So you demonstrate your team player skills. Very important to detail the outcome. What was the result? What did you achieve after solving that problem, right? And if you have numbers, even better. You need to reflect on lessons learned, so you can always add something in the end of an answer of what you learned from that situation, right? Again, emphasize results and impact. So not only detail the outcome, but also emphasize what the result was. And here is where numbers come in very handy, right? And of course, last but not least, we need to maintain a positive tone. So even if the situation was very stressful, very frustrating, things didn't work how we wanted, our expectations were not met, we still need to be positive when speaking about that. We don't want to say anything negative. We don't want to complain about the situation. We want to actually demonstrate how we can overcome that kind of situation. All right. So now that you know how to answer the question properly, how to talk about your solutions for complex troubleshooting, I have also some common mistakes that you should avoid when answering this kind of question, right? Because it's very easy to make mistakes when we are on interviews, especially if we're not prepared. So one of the things is one common mistake to avoid is to be overly technical. We need to know our audience. Who is the person asking us that question? Usually behavioral questions are asked from the HR, from a technical recruiter. Sometimes can be a hiring manager, can be someone technical, but if the interviewer is not someone who has a deep technical knowledge, don't go into technical details. Just give them an overview of what the problem was. Mention some technologies that you used and that you can find in the job description. But you don't need to go to dive deep into the technical details. If you're speaking with someone technical, you can let them know that you would be happy to discuss further details, okay? But always keep it concise, okay? Another mistake would be to exaggerate or falsifying details. You don't want to lie. You don't want to make up stories. You want to be honest, but you want to be strategic. So keep that in mind. That's very important. Another mistake would be lacking specificity. So make sure it's clear what you're talking about. Avoid general, broad answers, okay? Another mistake would be to do not provide context. Sometimes we are eager to explain things that we have done and we forget to tell them the context, the situation, and that does not help the in their story. So start from the context, right? Another mistake would be focus too much on the problem. You want to focus on the solution. What did you do to overcome the situation and the result? Another mistake in this specific question, which requires some time management skills, would be exactly neglecting time management. So if you had a problem to solve quickly, tell them how you manage that, right? Another mistake would be if you had collaboration, not discussing the collaboration would be another mistake. Of course, we need to focus on our responsibilities in an interview. It's about us, not about our team. But if we had collaboration, it's very important to mention. Lacking reflection would be another mistake. Like, you solved the problem, but what did you learn? If you don't reflect about your learnings, that's not a good sign, right? Also focusing solely on technical skills. That's another mistake that you really want to avoid. Behavioral interviews are about behavior, right? So they are about your soft skills, not your technical skills. Of course, you're going to mention some of them, but you want to focus on the soft skills as well, right? Another mistake would be to ignore the outcome, because it's not just about solving a problem. Okay, the problem doesn't exist anymore, but what was the result, right? What was the outcome? It's very important to demonstrate to the interviewer what you can bring to the table, right? Another mistake that I mentioned before would be being negative or very critical. You don't want to say anything negative. You want to keep positive. You want to focus on the good things that you have done to solve that problem, right? And how you did that, right? And last but not least, rambling or going off on tangents. Rambling is the least mistake you want to do in any interview question. Interviewers will get bored, they will get lost. So you don't want to be walking in circles. If they ask you a question, make sure you go straight to the point. You are direct and concise, okay? So those would be the mistakes to avoid. And now going back to the question then. Again, tell me about a time when you had to troubleshoot a complex technical issue under significant time pressure. Think about one of those situations and let me know how you handle that. If you're watching the session recorded, let me know in the comments. try to use the STAR methods to tell me your story, and also very important, tell me how did you prioritize tasks and what was the outcome. So think about all the tips, all the hints that I have for today. Think about situations where you had to face a complex technical issue, and how do you tell your story, not only on a technical perspective, but most importantly, demonstrating your soft skills. So let me know. And yeah, I hope that if you face some questions like that in a future interview, you have your stories ready, you can remember these tips, and have a good performance. All right, so that was all that I had planned for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for joining me. If you're watching this session recorded, let me know in the comments how you would answer the question, and especially using the STAR method. And in case you face that question in a future interview, I hope you can get some insights and have a good answer for the interviewer. And yeah, it was all from my end. I'll see you again in the next Lunch and Learn with Job Interview Pro. Thank you so much.